Hey guys, welcome back to TohirT channel. Tahir is here. I hope you guys had a fantastic week. My week was good. The long weekend that we had here in the United States, which I also extended by an additional 2 days, so 5 days of the weekend in total, was great but tiring. I went on a quick family trip. I just came back less than 24 hours ago. I'm still, a little bit rough around the edges because I need to clean myself up a little bit, but I need to make sure we have a video this week, so here we are. In today's video, I will piggyback on my trip to London to tell you about 3 things that I wish I knew before going to, well, London of course. Let's get it. Public transportation is queen. Usually you would say king, right? You would say something is king, awesome. I say it's queen because, UK has queen. I'm bad with puns, don't get on me about it. In any case, I've lived in big cities, I've been to big cities, I've traveled and saw different kind of metropolitan areas, places with millions of people living in them. Yet I think London takes the helm so far for how seamless their public transportation system is. I got one of those Oyster cards that cover all sorts of public transportation. I placed balance on that card and that was it. You want to take a tube, what they call the underground, you touch the yellow card. You want to take a ferry, you touch the yellow card. You want to take one of those iconic double-decker buses, you touch the yellow card. And what I mean by that, you don't just touch it and those things magically appear. It's not Harry Potter world afterward. All you have to do is really use one of those yellow areas that they have in all of those public transportation methods. Touch your yellow card against them, it charges your account and you're good to go. I know at first glance that train system looks crazy when you just look at the map itself, but trust me, it's pretty simple once you get a hang of it, and you get the hang of it pretty fast. Just take it line by line, look at the guide, look at the Google Maps as you're trying to navigate your way through it, and you'll be fine. Plus, the bus stations and the train stations are omnipresent around the city, so wherever you need to go, you will usually find some form of public transportation around that. Plus, along the river, you can take the ferry, which also compensates for the places where you could not necessarily go as efficiently using either the train or the bus. And on top of that, cabs, the taxi, is ridiculously expensive and the traffic is bad enough that it makes it even worse, it makes it more expensive for you. So that's another point for public transportation of London. Tip number 2, Heathrow is the sloth of the world airports. Again, I always thought about Heathrow as one of those hub airports. At the end of the day, they're right at the edge of European and Asian continent and they're across the pond from the North America and Latin America. There's Middle East and Africa further down south. So you would expect them to be used to processing millions and millions of people at the time. And I don't know whether it's Brexit. I'm sure some people would blame Brexit. They blame Brexit on a lot of things, or they blame a lot of things on Brexit in UK these days. Maybe there's a bad day, maybe there's something else going on, I don't know, some miscommunication about the shifts in the airport, but the wait lines at the passport control were ridiculous. And I am at this point carrying a US passport, so it should be even easier than what I used to have to go through with the Uzbek passport. Yet it was, I think, north of 2.5 hours wait time if you had to use regular line. It was ridiculous. I don't think I've seen as many people within the same terminal waiting for the passport control as I've seen in Heathrow that day. And it was like Thursday or Friday, I think it was Friday, so you would expect it to be okay in terms of the volume. And if not for the fact that I had my wife who was pregnant and my kid in a stroller, I don't even think would have made it through the airport as fast because we were able to take one of the shortcuts for the families thanks to our group together. And don't get me wrong, this is coming from a person who had to go through JFK on multiple occasions, through Terminal 4. And if you've been through Terminal 4 JFK, that place can get ridiculously crazy. They process essentially the majority of international incoming flights from European, from Asian, and from Middle Eastern countries. So you get to see ton of people going through at the same time, multiple flights just landing one after the other. People just keep going towards that passport control line, yet things work out well. And you do spend a little bit of time, but I think at most I spend about an hour to hour and a half there, and that's with maximum workload. If not for the family, again, I don't know how I would have made it. So if you are traveling alone or you're traveling in a group of adults through the Heathrow airport, you better pack some lunch, get a bottle of water, and prepare to wait for a little while. Tip number 3, Shoreditch is a neighborhood to be in. And don't get me wrong, I sound unconfident pronouncing Shoreditch, but it took me a while and I'm still only like 90, maybe 70% sure that I'm pronouncing it absolutely correctly. But in any case, Shoreditch is the area on the eastern side of London, and you do not necessarily think of it as the first place to go to. My preconceived notion is when you think about visiting big cities like London, Rome, Paris, New York, you want to stay close enough to the central part of it, because that's where usually all the major venues, all the cultural things, all the places to visit are situated. You do not stay further outside, because then you risk spending all the time essentially traveling back and forth, or spending all the money traveling back and forth. So the savings that you get from renting a room in one of those further out neighborhoods are eaten up by the time and the money you spend on transportation. I do not think this was the case. I was pleasantly surprised by how many things Shoreditch offered, from diverse group of people, from amazing amount of different places to eat and hang out that would satisfy your any culinary taste, to just in general being very interesting and artistic area. Shoreditch, I think, convinced me that at least when we speak about London, it is worth to stay away from the city center. In our case, we had to stay there because the prices were cheaper for the hotel. We made the last minute decision to go to London. We did not plan weeks and weeks in advance. It was maybe a week and a half in advance that we actually decided to go there, and within that time frame we got both the tickets and the hotel. So we kind of end up staying further out there, and it was the best decision ever, because at some point I just realized, you know what, we do not have that many reasons to go back to the central part of London at this point. Yes, it was a short trip. Yes, we did not plan major things like visiting Buckingham Palace, watching, the guard change and all that fun stuff. We will hopefully do it in the next trip. So for the next, say, 12 to 24 months, if you're visiting London, I would highly recommend you visiting London and staying in Shoreditch. Just take my word for it. Do not be confused with the photos that you see online. Go pick the hotel that you really enjoy, like Ace Hotel in our case. Love the place. And commit to it. You will not be disappointed with this neighborhood. And a quick bonus tip brings us back to the public transportation. In this case, when you are considering using underground system, the tube, the train, whatever they call it, please make sure, if you need accessible access, if you're using the wheelchair, if you have a stroller, if you have big luggage bags with the wheels on them, double check which train stations are accessible, meaning they have ramps and the elevators. Not for the reason that the older stations that are not accessible are hard to use, but because those that are accessible, I think, are even harder. Just check out their elevator map. This thing looks like a freaking Donkey Kong or Mario level. It's literally ripped off Nintendo game level. I could not believe when I saw this. I thought first it was a joke, but then I realized, no, this is an actual elevator system. So instead of taking a straight escalator down from one line to the other when you're switching lines in that metro system, you have to go through this area of puzzles and figure out, okay, if I need to take an elevator A, then to take elevator I 2 levels down, then take elevator D 3 levels down, then 2 levels up on the other one, and then I'm somehow ending up on the right line. Well, the escalator is right there. That's it. So we literally had to go through it only once. We took the elevator once, we came up, we realized we're already lost, and we decided, you know what, screw that, let's go down to the same level and let's go take an escalator. We do have a bag, we do have a stroller, but we can position them well. They do not prohibit those items on the escalator, so you're better off using those. Of course, this is not as helpful for those who have to use a wheelchair on that system, but this is my tip to you. Just make sure, if you are going to use it, glance over the map of the elevator system, as well as how you need to switch lines, especially if you're in a hurry, in advance, because it will be confusing when you're looking at that chart for the first time right there and you're in a rush. And if you're wondering where can you see that, London Transportation Authority does publish the entire map. You can see which train stations are accessible, which are not. You can see the details around those train stations. And for those that are not accessible, just know that the amount of steps that you have to go through, because we had to go through those with a luggage and with a stroller, will be counted towards a great workout for your entire family. Did you find these tips useful? Have you been to London, and do you agree with my observations? Or are there other tips and tricks that you would share with all of us? Make sure to link them in the comment section below. And this is all that I have for you guys this week. Now it's time for me to go refresh, combat the jet lag, come back next week fresher and with a new topic for us to discuss. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you're new to this channel, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and check out the videos in the backlog. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you very much for stopping by. As always, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about this video, and I'll see you all next Saturday, 10 AM Eastern. on this very channel. I must say I enjoyed London. It was fun times. And it was a short trip, only 4 days, but the city left me wanting for more. So I'm definitely looking forward to coming back, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing you guys sharing that experience with me. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.